But you also have to
Yeah.
understand, why are you doing all this work? The person I talked
Yeah.
to yesterday, he said, I looked up and I realized I'm just constantly working. I'm working almost 24 hours a day, and I've got a giant house and I have all these cars, but am I
Uh-huh.
really happy? And
He's
he wasn't.
he's gonna have to reevaluate that, isn't it? Really, to wonder, is it worth it? Is it worth me putting myself through all this drama and stress for what? Who's going to benefit? Obviously, if you've got family and you want to be happy, then fair enough. But is it again? It goes back to today's topic. Addicted to the life is one thing, but is it worth the stress and sacrifice? Because believe me, you're going to have to sacrifice a lot of things. In life, we have to sacrifice anyway, because that's just life, isn't it?
That's part of living, yeah. You gotta sacrifice.
But sometimes you have to wonder, how much of a sacrifice is it worth to get certain riches, if that makes sense. Do you see what I mean? Because some people, they go overboard. As in the case of Pablo Escobar, was it over 30 billion? Is he ever going to spend that in his lifetime unless he just gives it all away?
Well, but don't you get to a point also, it's something when you're doing a criminal enterprise, there are people underneath you that continue to want to be where you are or want to continue to make that money. So you can't just say, hey, guys, I'm out. Y'all just keep all the money. I'm just going to step away.
Unless you are going to appoint someone else before they try and kill you. Because you know what happens when you're the boss in that type of enterprise. I'm sure there's always someone who wants to topple you, and they ain't trying to just push you to one side. They want to forever silence you.
But they don't think that you're just going to step away and not possibly come back. I mean, think about it. If you're a billionaire, and you decide you want to stop, and then I'm going to turn it over to, young Jonathan, as my second in command. Well, young Jonathan may feel that, I never want K. Rose to be coming back, and the only way I can guarantee that is to kill K. Rose.
That's it.
Because he's got money. He's not going to give me all his money. He's going to give me his enterprise, but he's still got some billions, and if he wants to see me dead, he can do it, so I'm going to get him before
people are so greedy. They always want everything. I'm not being funny. As far as I'm concerned, there's enough to go around. Why are everybody so greedy they want to take everything from other people? What is that about?
Well, that's a perfect place to go into break, actually. I mean, because why? We keep saying this, but we need to know. We need to think about it. Hopefully somebody out there that's listening to the show or listening to the podcast, why?
Yeah, that's the question to leave you with, people. We are going to take a short break, and we will be right back after this. Hi, this is Avani. You're listening to the Ask Avani Show, and we'll be right back on the other side after this. Good afternoon and welcome back. This is the Ask Avani Show on SoMetro Radio. People, yes, today's show is Addicted to the Life, Aspiration or Stupidity. Is it worth the stress and sacrifice? You have just been listening to the dulcet tones of Mr. James Brown, the boss. Now, I think that track is very apt for today's show. Because I know that obviously what we're speaking about, yes, when these people have been addicted to the life, they are definitely deciding to be the boss. So, and the boss definitely in any business has to have a lot of stress and sacrifice, right?
You got to pay the price to be the boss. That's right.
That's exactly what he says, and it's so true. Oh my goodness! And before the break, I was just mentioning about Pablo Escobar and how I heard about him. I'll just quickly tell you, as I said, this so-called boyfriend I had at the time, he basically was obsessed with him, and he was the one that showed me the documentary about Pablo Escobar. And I suddenly thought, and the thing that was dangerous was I saw how obsessed, and he was glued to the screen watching this. And the thing is, he had seen this documentary millions of times. He had kept it in his archive of videos to watch. That's how I know that he was on that mindset, seriously. Sort of thing. So I thought, okay, something's definitely wrong here. I'm gonna have to watch it. So that's how I heard about Pablo Escobar, because up until that point I'd never heard of Pablo Escobar. I must just say that kind of thing. So yeah, it was a bit strange, but wow. So people, this week again we are talking about these types of criminals and crime persons, because it's not, as we discussed earlier, it's not just men, is it? There have been some female crime lords as well. So I just wanted to share with you about Pablo Escobar, because he was one of those big time ones. And I know there are other iconic, some might say, films about drug lords and the mafia. And again, all that links into being addicted to the life, right? Because there's all these different lifestyles that will afford you that kind of money. But the point I'm making, again, we are not advocating going into that criminal fraternity, but just to say that we know that those things people look at and think, okay, yeah, that's how I'm going to be able to make the money because I can't do it legitimately. That is not true, people. If you come upon an idea or you have a talent, whatever that may be, and if you can find someone to help you to, cultivate it, I'm sure you could come to those heights, maybe not the dizzying heights of the billions and billions, but enough to set you and your family up for the rest of your life to the point where you will be extremely comfortable and you can keep it moving legally. Yes, legally. So, and the films that I'm talking about, you guys already know, but I'm just going to mention some of them. There's the Mafia crime family, some fictional, others based, I'm sure, on certain facts. So again, The Godfather, Scarface, Goodfellas, to name a few. There's many more. And I know these films are still talked about today, because I meet guys, and when you say to them, what's their favorite film? Straight away, Scarface. They don't even miss a beat. No hesitation, no nothing. They'll just tell you, and you think, okay, yeah, it's definitely something that you're gonna have to say to them. Yeah, this is what's gonna happen. They are loving those films, and if they really get hooked on it, they may want to go down that route. So you're gonna have to watch some guys if he tells you that, ladies.
And people glamorizing, and that, to me, my opinion, they're glamorizing the lifestyle of Scarface and even The Sopranos, from HBO, and The Godfather. And I admit I do like The Godfather's movies. I looked at The Sopranos.
But we love their movies.
But they're reality also, because they're based on an organization that supposedly didn't exist, for years.
They didn't want to say.
They supposedly it didn't exist, and they would play like it didn't, but everyone knew that it did. But there was so much power associated with it that a lot of death, a lot of killings and murders and things happened, and with a criminal enterprise, period. That was the basis for The Sopranos, okay? Tony Soprano was a head of a group of men that killed and stole and did everything.
And they were into everything. Some people, they say, so some people just do one type of business. Then these crime families and syndicates, if you like, they have their fingers in every single pie that you can imagine. If it's illegal and it makes a lot of money, they're interested. For those two reasons, because it's illegal, because it makes a lot of money.
But don't you think that that's a mentality, and it's the same type of mentality that takes a person to, it's obsessive? Alcoholics and people that are addicted to drugs and they're addicted to making money at any means necessary.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. And that, but this is the thing, that when somebody sees that a particular type of industry, if you like, is going to help them make money, as far as they're concerned, they don't mind that their customers could be killing themselves along the way.
Getting killed or killing your, listen to what we're saying here. We're talking about killing our customers.
And I just used to think, hold on a second, but then they realize, okay, we can't make it too pure because we want them to come back. Because otherwise we won't have no customers. If they're all dying off, who buys the product? That way we don't make no money. So, and you know who that person was, right? The infamous, the one and only star of said film, American Gangster, the real life version, Mr. Frank Lucas.
Frank Lucas.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he has mentioned that he realized that, yes, they couldn't make their product too pure, as it were, because they'd be killing off their customers. Now, I know this film was popular when it came out, starring Denzel Washington. Yes, all the ladies are going to be swooning. Woo! And I have to say, yes, I wanted to see the film, and I saw it too. And I was very interested. But apparently, there's some people who say like a lot of it's not true. Some of it is like built on someone's dramatization of his life, if you like, and other people who say no, there's a lot, they take dramatic license when they make a lot of these films. They put things in for effect to make it look good and stuff. It's based on his life, and he does say, yes, I did sell drugs and I did do this and I did do that kind of thing, but he also had some, shall we say, interesting and infamous associates. People such as Nicky Barnes, another one who was very deep in that industry at the time, shall we say, and Bumpy Johnson as well. All these, from that era, they're infamous, aren't they?
Right, and the thing about it is, again, it's like we look at reality television now. We're looking at it, it's kind of a train wreck. And when we look at the stories and the movies, I looked at American Gangster also. And from an entertainment standpoint, very entertaining movie. It had people of my color in it. So that made it something I wanted to see also. But we're talking about a person who distributed narcotics.
Yep. On a grand scale.
On a grand scale and made a lot of money. And it's about his life. So, I mean, people that say, well, that didn't really happen. Well, okay, this is not a documentary. Okay, this is a movie. And so it is what it is. But you mentioned something earlier that Pablo Escobar would distribute items and give away things to the community. And that helped him stay basically, anonymous. And it helped to cover him. And he continued to remain in power because people wouldn't tell on him. Well, Frank Lucas did the same thing too.
The common people, the common people as they call them, innit? The everyday Mr. and Mrs. Joe Blogs, they loved him because he would help them. Anyone in need, if they needed food or something, he would give them money and he would give them food. And to him, he was a hero because, to them, I should say, he was a hero because of that sort of thing. So it's amazing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But even to this day, I think the last time, I'm not sure when they last did an interview, but he's in his 80s, Mr. Frank Lucas, if he's even still alive right now. And he was on radio. He was doing, he's an octogenarian, people, and he was doing radio interviews, and people still want to hear about him and his life story. So can you believe, even now, and it was amazing. I just thought, wow, the Harlem drug kingpin just goes to show you. And there are people that sort of question the story, Link 8, K-Rose. People question the story of his rise and fall, in the drug industry, and the amount of money that he made and his connection to Bumpy Johnson and all things like that. People do question these things. But, I mean, the only people who really know the truth are those that were there, isn't it?
Exactly. And, I mean, even questioning it, it's like, okay, why are you making such a big deal out of this? I mean, you're not going to become a drug kingpin yourself.
Yeah,
and
it's just someone who's, and the thing is, I remember seeing an interview with him where he'd gone on to a radio station, and somebody asked him, did he regret what he'd done? And he said, I'm so proud of you for asking me that question, because yes, I do regret it. I really sorely regret it. I wish I hadn't done it. And then someone else said to him, what would you say to these wannabe drug dealers on the corner who are out there trying to build a reputation, as it were, quote unquote, who want to get into this game? And he said, listen, don't mess with that. I'm telling you, go home, read your book, go to college. He said, don't do it. He said, it's not worth it. He said, you will hurt your family, your friends, your wife, your kids, whatever you have around you, whoever you have, it's not worth it. That's the advice that he gave. So it just goes to show that after all what he's been through, he knows it's not something that he would advocate even his own children to get into.
Well, but it's when you're young, I mean, because it happened to me, and I thought people were old when they were in their 30s, okay? when I was in my early 20s and when I was in my teens, you were old when you were in your early 30s. Right. Or in your 30s, and man, at 40, man, you were pretty much getting ready for retirement as far as I was concerned. And so when you talk to people and when you are young, you won't listen to what they're saying. And you don't feel that, oh, well, he's just saying that, and I'm going to do it my way. And I'm going to still do it because, hey, look at where all the money he made. But
that's it. why is he telling me not to do that when, look how much money he made. Come on now. It's like they're thinking he's being a bit of a hypocrite in it.
Exactly. He's trying to hold me back. And
Yeah.
what he's trying to do is, and what we try to do as people who have lived a little bit, we're trying to get you to avoid some of the mistakes we made. And now, do you choose to listen to them? It's just like, did I choose to listen to some of my elders?
Well, there you go. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it, though? Especially when you have someone that you can ask. You know, he was willing to come and talk about it and tell people, listen, this ain't the way to go. Don't mess with that. Stay away from it. Somebody like that who has been through it, you know, and he was prepared to tell you. So those type of people who have